Hello guys, hope you're doing well. I'm coming at you with the next excerpt of my first novel, Black and White Odyssey of Eden. It's the first novel in a series. So let's continue where I left off. You fucking bastard. You did this to me. You made me care. You made me live. You made this hopeless. His voice became meeker with every word. You don't exist, and I know this. He broke down into a full sob, overpowered in the chair by his own sadness. He knew, deep down, this one word was the one Catherine had wanted to say, but did not. It was the silent part, and the scientist had now said it out loud. Thomas, Matthew, and Dmitri dropped their arms to their sides. Thomas grasped the plinth holding the computer screens behind him, knees buckling as he tried not to fall to the ground in sadness. He turned away from the scientist. The scientist was now 68 years old and physically slight from constantly being reborn and destroyed, the aliasing now taking full effect upon his form as his limbs now were nearly necrotic from obliterated vasculature. Thomas could not bear to face him. The scientist was the only one who ever made any difference in the plunge, and Thomas was ashamed, for he let doubt swell in his mind. Matthew stood there, staring in the direction of the scientist, eyes darting from one direction to another. He breathed heavily through his mouth, hands curled into fists, sweat beginning to bead on his forehead from the tussle he had just subdued. He could not hold this back. He heard every word Catherine had said, and tears began to flow from his face. Jessica put one of the scientist's hands between hers, bowed her forehead down onto them, and sat there the entire time, quiet. It cannot be changed, said Dmitri calmly. This is where humanity ends. I'm sorry, James. It must stop. Then we break to the next section. When Matthew walked into the room, the scientist was poring over the vista of the looking glass, repeating the scene before him over and over. The grayish, oval shape revealed what seemed to be a portal into another dimension, of some time long distant from them both. Matthew walked up beside the scientist, whose face was grim as he sat in the chair that had only a few days before restrained him from his madness. The scientist kept repeating the same scene. Matthew saw inside the vista, a golden sky on the horizon. It looked to be early evening, just before twilight. In the foreground, at least half a dozen crucifixes stood, all holding various individuals. One was empty. He doesn't exist, Matthew, said the scientist. He never has. I've always known it, at least since I built this infernal machine so long ago. I'm sorry. I really am, my friend. Matthew placed his hand on the scientist's shoulder in reassurance. I think Dmitri may have been right. As painful as it is for me to say it, we have made no difference. Our good book brought us far, but eventually we were left to die. We have made a difference, said the scientist. We've just been going about it all wrong this entire time. How's that? Well, Matthew, you and I both know time does not exist, right? Well, I'm still a bit shaky on that, but you're the real super genius here. I'm just trying to keep up, Matthew laughed. Well, what's being a super genius if you have no one to which to compare? The scientist said, smiling. It was the first time Matthew had seen him genuinely smile in several linear years, and it concerned him. That's a good point. So, what are you talking about? This whole time I've been trying to change the course of history through my own will, What has it accomplished? The scientist said rhetorically. I have managed to save, what, maybe one person? For maybe a few years? Well, you did save us. And I'll come at you with the next section later. Love y'all. Peace.